Welcome back to DAGryffyn Hobby. My name's Dave. I've been sitting here at my workbench, which is right behind me, not fixing trains. Not because I haven't been trying, but because things just don't always work out. To the left of my workbench is a bunch of older stuff. And on one of those shelves are some old Scout engines. And I just decided I want to take them off the shelf and play with them. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's check out my Scout engines. As is usually the case, I am prone to mess up the terminology. Maybe these aren't all Scout engines. I don't really know. But when I refer to them as Scout engines, I mean these post-war small, usually 242s that tend to be plastic. This one's die-cast. It's actually quite heavy. It's got a 2-position E-unit, so it's either going forward or backwards. Sometimes it tries to do both at the same time. I do enjoy running this, and it's cooking around the layout, and all of a sudden it just decides it wants to go the other direction. The wheels change direction, it spins the wheels, and then it starts backing up. It's got this little E-unit lever out the top, and you can set it to just go in one direction, but as it's banging around the track, it will fall back down, and then it wants to change direction again. But I view that just kind of as the personality of some of these guys. This particular engine, the 1110, has a die-cast boiler, but the plastic motor. And I don't like these plastic motors. They're difficult to replace parts and to service. One of my least favorite portions of the motor are these pickups. I don't like them. I don't think they make great contact. Of course, as I'm looking at these, they're a little dirty, so maybe that's why I'm having some trouble running it. I just pulled this one off the shelf and figured let's just make a video out of it. So I'm going to run this one a little bit, and then we'll go through the next one, and we'll see how they do. I should mention a lot of these engines I haven't touched since I put them on this shelf. So they're not well maintained. Some of them might still need to be serviced. I honestly do not recall. At one point I knew where each of them came from. At the moment I'm having trouble remembering. I do know I have one Scout set that's on the shelf that I got from my buddy Art, from Art's Model Trains. So that's always a good one. I think that one runs pretty well. But again, it's been a while, I don't really remember. So let's find out. Let's see what Scout engines I have and which one's the best runner. This next engine is an 1130, and this is plastic shell, but with the metal motor. Easier to service, I think tends to run better. There's no E-unit lever through the top. There is an E-unit right there though, so you can get to it, but it's not that easy. It's interesting. I don't remember seeing that. Well, let's see if this one works. So for now, the 1130 takes first place. Lighter weight plastic shell is more than made up for by the heavier weight metal motor with an actual 3-position E-unit. The 3-position E-unit, a lot more functional. Not as amusing as the 2-position when the train just changes direction without warning, but definitely the 3-position gives you a much better runner. Let's see what's next. Here's a plastic 1060, plastic motor, plastic shell, and missing parts. Let's see how this one does. This one doesn't appear to have any E-unit. I'm so out of touch with this range of locomotives that I can't remember what they're supposed to have. But I guess we'll find out here in a moment. Seems to be forward only. It runs pretty well. It needs a couple of pieces, and it seems like there's a wheel that's out around or an axle bent. It definitely slips trying to pull these few cars. It's probably meant more for the really lightweight plastic Scout cars. But because it doesn't change direction without warning, I'm tempted to put it in front of the 1110, but it's just such a basic engine. I think it's got to go behind it, because with some service, maybe the 1110 would be better. Next up is the 246. I was thinking it didn't have an E-unit, but I just saw the lever out the top for the 2-position E-unit. This particular engine's pretty clean, and I can't remember if this is the one that I have the matching tender for, or if that was a 243 or something like that. I need to break all these out more often, because these are great little engines. They're all a lot of fun, and you can get a lot of them really cheap. $10, $5, stuff like that, and they're fun to play with. So let's see if the 246 works. Well, this one was running great forward. Once I moved the switch for the E-unit, it just started busting out a jig. It was not working, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But then again, this is part of the enjoyment of these great little old engines. And again, this probably just needs a service, and I assume would be running better, but it works pretty well just going forward. If we ignore the malfunctioning unit, it runs pretty well. So I say it goes in front of the 1060, but behind the 1110. And all these things could change based on a decent service. But if we consider it to be forward only, then it still beats the 1060. It's a better runner and a better puller. This next one is not a Scout engine. It would be an MPC era 242, the 8040. It does not have an E-unit in pure MPC bargain basement style. It's got a switch for forward and reverse. It also has a neutral position, but I'm not really sure why you'd want that. But this runs pretty well. I think I'm going to give it an honorary position, since it's not really a Scout engine. Or maybe it is by MPC standards, I don't really know. But I'm going to put it ahead of the 1060, because it did pull better than that. This 1001 here is the engine that I got from Art, along with the rest of the set. Not this set, but the set that it came with, which is still on the shelf. Last time I was running this, it kept switching back and forth between directions, so I shoved a little foam in here to keep the lever for the E-unit from flopping back and forth. Let's see if it works. It's been a while since I ran it. Well, this one runs pretty well, which is what I remembered, but the E-unit, again, is a little funny. These levers, I don't know if it's the lever or if there's a spring inside or something, but they start bouncing around and they won't stay in one position. And then it starts banging back and forth between forward and reverse. But in just forward, runs fantastic. Don't really know where it belongs now in this lineup because I've kind of lost track. I'm going to say right behind the 246. Even though this one is a little more special because it came to me from a friend. At the moment, I can't remember anything about this engine. Woo! There it goes. And off it goes. All right, well, I'm surprised that ran and didn't short out anything. Definitely need to service this. It's a little dirty and rusty in there. Whew! Okay, that one was just letting out smoke, so that needs to be serviced. I wasn't expecting that. But it ran pretty well there for a moment. All right, this 250 here I picked up at one point quite a while back, probably for $5 without the tender, and spent a long time looking for the tender, and I think it was Dell that finally found one at a train show that we were at for a few bucks. So the whole set was probably $10. If I remember correctly, it runs pretty well. So I think 250 here takes the lead, and not just because it's got the wonderful, colorful Pennsylvania on this side, but because it really is working quite well. It's got a 3-position E-unit that's functioning fantastically. Like the rest of them, the engine needs a little bit of service, a little bit of oil, but I think it just clinched first place. Now, I'm pretty sure I have more Scout engines. I just don't know where they are. So I'm going to look around, see if I can find them. Okay, I found one more. I honestly don't know if I have more Scout engines. I feel like I might, but I can't for the life of me locate them. When I was talking about the 246 and that there was another engine, this is the engine, 233, with the matching 233W tender. It's a pretty heavy tender for a small engine like this because it has a whistle in it. I don't know if it works. We'll have to see. This engine has problems with one of the center rail pickups, and because of that, it will change direction without warning. And I think it's the pickup, not the E-unit, that's causing the issue. Some of the others, the E-unit just won't hold a position. If I remember correctly, this one is that it just doesn't have good pickup. It sees that as a cut and track power. This has a plastic motor, so I don't want to open it up to try to repair that center rail pickup, but maybe at some point I can like Dremel it or something and clean it up a little bit and have it work a little bit better. I haven't run this in a long time, so let's hit it with power and see what happens. Nothing. I love it. Oh, there we go. Is that a smoke unit or is it on fire? This one's got a smoker. I totally forgot about that. It almost made it past. The whistle works great, except for the fact that it keeps triggering on its own. I've had to run the engine at a high speed to keep it moving. Definitely some sparks coming out of that front center rail pickup. It's another one of those engines that definitely needs some servicing, maybe a little repair. I think it's pretty cool that it has a whistle tender, a smoke unit, a headlight. That's pretty good for an engine like this. This engine would need to be cleaned, serviced, and run a little bit more before making a final judgment. This engine came to me from family friends as part of their collection, so I don't want to really modify this one. I'd kind of like to keep it the way it is. Whether it works great or not, I just kind of like having this one. Out of all these engines, this one has the most features, so it should be up at the front, but it's just not running that great at the moment. You might be able to see there the center rail pickups are not in the best shape. Maybe I can get in there with the Dremel, like I said, and clean that up. I like the motor in the 1130, and I like the die-cast shell of the 1110. Plastic, die-cast. Not a big fan of this motor. Part of me would say take the die-cast shell from the 1110 and put it on the 1130's motor, but there's really no need. I kind of want to just keep them the way they are and the way they're supposed to be. If, in fact, these are the way they're supposed to be. Who knows? I picked them up cheap. So in first place is the 250. I'm going to run it, I think, with the whistle tender just for fun. The engines that we have run today: the 1130, the 1110, the 246, the 233 with the matching tender, 1001, the 8040 from the MP Sierra, and the 1060. And of course, in first place, the 250 with the matching tender. I oiled the engine quickly and ran around the layout a few times. Now there's just one more task to do before I can consider this video complete. And that would be seeing how many Baby Ruth cars this engine can pull. It was performing better before I tried to clean the wheels and the track. Now it's just slipping. Before I cleaned it, it was pulling 5. I added 2 more cars and it was pulling it with an excessive amount of wheel slip. Now it's just slipping. Maybe the dirt was actually adding grip to the wheels. But I think the happy place for this engine is probably 4 of these cars, not 5. It's a bit much. What does this all mean? Well, really nothing other than it's fun to get out to the train room and play with your trains. And that's what I've been doing, and it's been too long, and this has been a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this because I had a lot of fun putting this one together. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on DAGryffyn Hobby.